I was to the point, and this is about 10 years ago, and I was working midnights. I'd been on midnights for a long time, and my kids were young, and life was seeming like spinning out of control. I didn't know which way was up, and the thought of suicide was constantly in my mind. It's just get rid of it, ease the pain, just you're done, And finally, I was brave enough to talk to my wife about it. And I mean, she's just like, okay, let's go find counseling. Matter of fact, she didn't, get bent out of shape. She's just like, let's go find counseling. And so I went to a psychologist, and which has a huge stigma all of it itself. Oh my gosh, if they find out you're going to a psychologist, you're crazy. Oh, you're going to lose your job. Oh, you're going to lose your guns. Oh, you're going to be labeled. You're going to have a stigmatism. But when you have kids and you look at your kids, and I look back at what my dad did and what that did to me, there's a bunch of different reasons. And, the pressures of life and the garbage and the stink that our job brings to us. And, it's sometimes incredibly overwhelming. You don't see a way out. You don't, it's just blackness. And the biggest thing that I remember when I was depressed like that was I didn't even care that I didn't care. I was just completely numb to everything. I mean, my house could have burned down. I wouldn't have cared. Something could have happened to my family. I wouldn't have cared. I just was in a haze, just a constant haze, day after day after day. And, it's just like, you hear that voice in your head saying, why don't you just do it? Just ease the pain. No more pain. Just do it. And the wife's like, you need to go get help. Go get counseling. And when you've been a guy that has done everything, I mean, gone through combat, done it all, nothing scares you. Nothing in this world scares you. And to turn around and say, you need help, I got to go have somebody else help me, that's near impossible to do. I mean, I don't know, you almost feel like a failure. I just failed. How do you feel at life? But you do. I mean, that's what you feel like anyway. I got into my psychologist's office, and it's a guy, and fairly young. He has a nice beard. And I'm looking around his office, and he has, like pictures of the Navy, and then I look on his desk, and he has a couple 40 millimeter grenades there, and then he has whole belts of ammunition hanging all over, and I'm like, were you in the military? And he's like, yeah, I was a Navy SEAL. I'm like, rock on, let's talk. It's like, man, he just made it so easy for me to unload because he spoke the same language. And, like I said, we went on and on and on for months. And he's like, hey, talk to my colleagues. You're not crazy. If just one person decides not to eat their gun, then it's all worth it. And just like law enforcement, I'd do it again if one person gets saved. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. That's why we wear the badge.